Hello, everyone. We are excited to bring you a little snippet of time management tips from SSS. My name is Gwen Cotterman. I'm one of the SSS advisors here.
Alicia Kilworth, also SSS advisor.
Thanks for joining us for this little bit.
Okay, so to get going, we have a little quiz that y'all are going to take. It's going to tell you what your time management style is. So there's a QR code here. You're going to scan this with the camera on your phone. Open it up, and we will give you just a few minutes to take the quiz.
Perhaps in this moment, just hit pause on this presentation, complete the quiz, and then we can continue. You ready to go ahead?
Go.
Hello. So glad that you're joining us for this quick time management tip video. My name's Gwen Cotterman. I'm one of the SSS advisors here at UW.
I'm Alicia Kilworth, also an SSS advisor with Gwen.
Thanks for joining us.
We are going to begin with a short quiz that you're going to take that's going to identify what your time management style is. So you're going to scan this code with your phone on your camera. And we found once you open the link, it's easier to turn your phone sideways, so like landscape view, because there's a little box on there that you need to click to accept cookies, but it doesn't go away. And it's easier to hit continue if you turn your phone sideways, okay? Just a quick heads up. If you want to take a minute to pause the video here while you answer the questions to get to what your style is, and then we will resume with what some challenges and hurdles are regarding time management, okay? See you in a minute. Okay, so some challenges that people struggle with regarding time management. We had a little discussion in the live session we did with this with students in person the other day. We had a lot of things come up. Motivation, always one of the biggest ones, right? Like motivation is definitely an issue when you're trying to get something done. Falling into a Netflix or a YouTube hole. Yep. And getting completely distracted by videos. Gwen, what else were some of the things people mentioned?
Just feeling overscheduled, just so excited to have these opportunities to connect with people and realizing all too late that maybe there's one too many commitments on the schedule.
Absolutely, yeah. No. Overwhelmed, sense of stress.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there were anything else.
I feel like it was just trying to keep on top of whatever the instructor requests were. So we're finding that more and more students are saying, oh, instructors are assigning work to be due on days that aren't typically days that we have class. And so now it's just trying to keep track of both the class days and the readings for the class, as well as whatever the discussion post has to come in at, or this extra lab that has to get posted. So just additional due dates.
Mm-hmm. Or this is one I hear a lot too, that's similar to that, is with classes that are asynchronous, or online classes that are asynchronous, or that you do everything on your own. A lot of students struggle with getting to it in a timely manner, right? Like finding time for it and not forgetting about it till the end of the week. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on. So now that you've taken your quiz, you've gotten a chance to see what the different styles are. We're going to talk about each of these here in a second. But I think as you get a chance to read through some of the descriptions yourself, you're going to definitely find some things that resonate for you. I know I did. Okay, so the early bird is the first one, right? So I think the early bird is what we all aspire to be. I know I do. Even though this style does not work for me at all. And I think what's important is to not focus on, when you find out what your style is, like, don't focus on these are the things I need to fix. Like, it's definitely important to make some improvements, but instead of trying to force yourself into another style, you want to find some things that work for you as you are, right? When you try to force yourself into a different box, never works out. So the early bird is the person that's always really organized, right? They have their checklist. They take great satisfaction in being able to check things off, which, even though I'm not an early bird, is something I also enjoy doing. They're the person who's going to get everything started right away, right? They're not going to wait at all to the last minute. They're going to find out what the assignment is. The first thing they're going to do when they have a free moment after class is get started on that assignment. They're the person that likes to have things done early before it's even due. Strengths, obviously, you know what you want. Very driven people. These are the people that usually motivation is not an issue for. They're always highly motivated to get things done in a timely manner. The challenges are, though, that sometimes so when Gwen was talking about the person who overschedules, although it's not only the early bird who does this, I think this is a particular problem for some of the early birds that I personally work with. Is these are the people who have a tendency to put too many things into their schedule. They have a hard time saying no. They don't give themselves enough time to really enjoy what it is they're doing, right? It's all about the end task. So, tips for success for this person. Oops, look at that. Because you're so organized, like I said, the challenges is that sometimes you don't take the time to, like, right, this phrase is like, slow down and smell the roses, right? So for this person, your tips are going to be that, school is not, and work, because this is just school. This is, time management and a job that you have when you're done with school too, or jobs that a lot of you have now. It's not about just getting the task done. It's not just about the work. It's about enjoying the process and enjoying this experience. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in what we have to do that we miss out on the things that we want to do. And that is a specific problem, especially for the early bird. Okay. Next is the balancing act. So this is me. And I had to kind of laugh to myself when I was reading the description, because some of the things so much reminded me of myself. I got a little giggle out of it. But the traits are that these are folks who are naturally gifted at keeping things rounded out and well balanced, right? It could be something that you have always been like, or something that you've developed over time, but basic organizational skills that they're generally successful in classes. Typically get things done on time. It might not be perfect, but they get it done, and they get it done to a satisfactory level. Like, hey, all right, I'm good with that. Which is exactly what I thought about most of my papers in college. Strengths, like I said, the biggest strength is that it's that ability to be a well-rounded and balanced person. Like I said, don't always complete the assignments on time, but they're always consistent and manage to do well in their courses, right? Like, these are the people who do well in school, but they're not dedicating all of their time to it. Challenges are that they can get into a bit of a rut, and this is especially where I giggled a little bit to myself, because you get into a rut, it says, and then they begin to coast in class rather than really challenging themselves. 100% was my experience through most of school. I found that for the most part, I could get through my classes, and bare minimum kind of thing, right? Like, I'm not even sure if that's the word. Like, I would just get it done, and I'd get it done to a satisfactory level. Like, I knew I could do better, but I wasn't going to stress out about it. And it get me into this level where I just kind of coasted through. I never made anything too hard on myself, which, you know, at the time might seem great, but when you look back on it in retrospect, is I might have missed out on some opportunities, right? To like learn, to broaden myself, to make connections with a professor if I had maybe gone that extra step. And so those are the kinds of things that the balancing act person might miss out on because they're just satisfied with their basic level of okay. Yeah, it's great to be balanced, and it's great to know that, yeah, I'm getting my work done on time and enjoying it. But, you know, there's something to be said for finding some challenges and kind of going that extra mile sometimes. Push your boundaries, I think is what it says in the tips for success. Yes, right. It's like push your boundaries, push your expectations for yourself.
The pressure cooker. I feel like we all can name a time where we have been in the pressure cooker situation. And as we were talking about this earlier, we were thinking of times, when is this good? It might be a time when, you're doing a project, but you have to use up-to-date information. Like if you're following a business and trying to see what their stocks are doing each day, you need a pressure cooker personality in the group, because that individual might really be able to pull that stuff in and cover everything that you're trying to do for a particular project. But, you know, the pressure cooker, they're going to wait till the last minute to get things done. The bonus to this, should they be in that zone of waiting to the last minute, is that their focus is laser sharp, and the student can sit down and say, I have a paper that's due tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm working on it now, and boom, that's the only thing they do. And they're able to pull together their paper like nobody's business. Now, that sounds good. And sometimes we have to have these moments, but there's a challenge to this. It means that you're putting yourself in a lot of stress, and you might kind of rely on this ability to procrastinate to get something done. Sometimes, though your focus might have been there, the quality of work maybe isn't as strong as what you know you're capable of, just because you have a time constraint. So things that a student could keep in mind if they are working in a pressure cooker mindset is really looking at small ways to build out goals to complete a project or a paper. So perhaps you're looking at a week or a 2-week window, and what can be done in 3 days, and then following that, what can be done in the next 5. And do you finish out all the details with the last few days before that project is due? It's easy. There's lots of things to do and a lot of distractions to have, but just to stay within your mindset to keep you on task to get things started. You might actually enjoy it and not have applied so much stress to yourself in completing it. All right, moving on to the next one there, Felicia.
Oh, sorry, I thought I clicked.
Oh,
there it goes.
Yeah, that's okay. Improviser. You know, as we were talking a little bit about an improviser, we were, you know, thinking about the things that a person does. They usually do those little checklists, and so here, yeah, checklists and getting things done, and they can kind of think on their feet. I am gonna stop you for just a moment.
Oh.
So real quick, so when I was on these screens 2 days ago, I noticed there was a challenge with one. It might have been this.
Okay, I'm trying to get it to pause. I'll just have to edit this. Hold on.
I had made the change on the one that we did yesterday.
Oh,
Sorry for that little blip. We were noticing that one of our traits wasn't quite captured on the slide correctly. So we made a slight editing adjustment. But the improviser, this is the person that you actually need in your group, particularly if you have to do a presentation. And here, you have to fill 30 minutes of time, and you know that you only have something less than that. But the improviser is the person that can just tie things together and talk long enough so that the team meets the requirement for the assignment. So though an improviser might be on the last minute side of things, they're able to still kind of keep the whole project or assignment together. Improvisers are quick on their feet, and it's an amazing skill because they're taking in data and they're able to synthesize it in ways that some of us can just look at from the side in awe. And it's been successful for them for so much of the coursework that they've done. One of the challenges that might happen though for the improviser is that though it works well, maybe at a group project where everyone's familiar with the information and the improviser can expand on a certain portion of what's being presented, it's really tough to always have this mindset because like if you're in a lab course, you can't speed up a lab experiment. So just being able to pace themselves and being able to stay up with the materials in the course could actually put them behind if they're not calculating their timing quite right. So the great news for an improviser is that there's easy ways, simple adjustments that could actually make all these incredible strengths in planning for the future come together really well. So making some organized adjustments into some kind of planner or calendar so that they can still play to the ability of just being able to contribute to every class, but they've done all the prep work so that they can also be quite successful. It's the hidden progress button that
here we go. Sorry, jumped back there. There we go. So habits that help versus habits that hurt. Again, had some really great ideas come from the students that were here with us the other day. Some of those things were color coding, I remember was one that stuck out to me. So students that she has a different notebook for every class and she uses a different color of ink in each notebook. And I think, Brian, you'll have to help me here. I believe that's called a mnemonic device, right? When you link a memory to something.
Oh, sure.
Right. So like,
I believe so.
Yeah. So for her, the information she learns in class is linked to that color of ink, right? So that's great. That's not only a time management thing, that's like a study skill. We talked about app blockers, like social media app blockers. There are a ton of them out there. One is called Trello, Trello. There's also something called Antisocial, which helps you block things. Let's see, I talked about personally, I have to set, so like knowing how long a task will take, that's a big place where I fail with my time management personally. I think to myself, oh, I have 20 minutes to get this thing done. That's more than enough time. And then the next thing I know, 40 minutes has passed and I'm running around like a crazy person. So I do a lot of setting timers for myself, right? Because A, it keeps me from getting distracted. So I keep on whatever the task is that I want to get done in 20 minutes. And B, if I time myself and I give myself 20 minutes to do this thing and it takes longer than that, well, then I know for next time, oh, this thing takes me actually 35 minutes. What else, Gwen?
Something else that I thought came up in our conversation is that students find different ways to utilize planning systems. So a couple students were mentioning how they'll use the phones for the reminders for class and things of that nature. And then they'll actually use a paper planner that would list out the work assignments or the group project stuff that they're trying to complete. And so they have more space within a planner to write out some details versus the electronic device that was more of the, task to get to class and or to get to work at certain times. And so I thought that was interesting.
We have a few things on here, like staying organized might involve a planner, finding a routine, things like that. I think taking care of yourself, because we talked about how motivation is always a big problem for students, right? And unfortunately, like motivation is one of the things that I can't give you a tool to help with that, right? Like I can't give you a planner to help with your motivation. I can't give you notebooks and colored sticky notes and tabs. So that really comes down to you're going to lose motivation when your resources are low, right? And by resources, I mean like your energy levels, your mental health, things like that. So the best way to assist with your motivation is finding time to balance, ask for help, finding times to take care of yourself, finding times to do things that you enjoy doing. Those are the kind of things that are going to keep your resources high, and help with that sense of motivation because you're not exhausted. Anything else to add there?
I pretty much figure we covered most of the main areas that we were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, as you mentioned, motivation, and one thing that I recall a person contributing is that they find something to schedule each weekend that they can look forward to. And that just helps them as they're trying to, get the motivation to do the coursework or the studying, because they have something that's kind of waiting for them at the end of the week. Absolutely. So here's a collection of things that we know that exist, and we hope that you can take advantage of as you're here with us at UW. So just looking forward to going to a movie. It was what one student had even said of, hey, that's the time where I can totally shut off everything else and just immerse myself in whatever that movie experience is. This is a great time of year of just getting outdoors in whatever form that might be, to just explore or appreciate the sounds of nature and just separate from the busyness and the tensions of coming into classes and discussing different subjects. Some of the programming our Wellness Center does an amazing job with is they have a Big Sky Mindfulness workshop series, which just, it's a short-term commitment, but certainly gives students that space to really experience and understand mindfulness in a new way that might make them just more efficient as they are preparing for some of their classes. Some of the other things that the Wellness Center does is they bring in kitty cuddle time, which is always a good time to just have something fuzzy and purring in your hands. The Wellness Center has a great space where students can go and just hang out and relax, and they're zened in. And then as we go through just a couple other options of just ways to kind of to look forward to coming weeks or the end of the week, is that we have puppy play dates similar to kitty cuddle time. There's drop-in meditation that just in one of those sessions might really put you at a different mindset to be really efficient as you continue to study just after. Sometimes we need to give ourselves little prizes. Is it a hot chocolate? Is it a really fun tasting coffee that just kind of helps us look forward to getting through some exhausting parts of our week? And then this is just a shout out for something coming up for UW students to get involved in is it's a way to connect with our Laramie community. And you get to sign up and volunteer for projects for different homeowners and community members around Laramie who just needed an extra set of hands to get some things done. And so there is a day in October where so many students just absolutely make community member days because they get this extra help and they have this connection. And coming out of a COVID year, I think that's what all of us are looking for, is that sense of connecting.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So for the students that were in person, we provided a little card for them to write down what is their commitment, right? So what's one thing that you're going to commit to do that will improve the way you manage your time? And it can be any of the things we talked about. It could be something completely different. Something that you research on your own, maybe. Whatever it is, but it's got to be some kind of positive addition to the way you run your scheduling, essentially. Okay. And again, feel free to pause it here if you want to take a minute to think about it, or take a minute to decide what it is that you want to focus on. But put it in your phone, write it down somewhere, like magnet it to your fridge so you see it every day, something, so it's always there, right? Okay. And then this is for those of you who use SOAR to track your activities that you do at the university. We have a QR link for this so that you can add it to your SOAR portfolio, I guess, lack of a better word. I can't think of what I should be saying. And thank you for watching us. Even though it wasn't the smoothest recording, thank you for being here.
We appreciate you.
Yes, we do. And your patience with us. And then for those of you who want to use this as bonus points for your scholarship, just very simple email to one of the advisors, myself or Glenn, or hopefully one of our new people soon. When you took the quiz at the beginning, what time management style result did you get? What parts of that description resonated for you? What made sense? And then what are some tips that you're going to try to incorporate to improve your time management? So this can be just one thing, like if you want to use what you wrote down for your commitment, great. Or if you've got a few things, this would be a great place to let us know what you're going to do and what you're going to try to work on. Anything to add, Glenn?
No, thanks. That was good.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks.